Hello. This talk is going to be titled The Scenic Route versus the Meditative Route, colon, 3 benefits of meditation. And there will be probably 4 videos, possibly 5, but at least 4. And in this first one, I just want to talk about the inspiration for this short talk or series of short talks. So, for the past Well, for most of my adult life, I've gone for an evening walk, usually around 11 p.m. And I'll usually go for about 45 minutes to an hour. But for the past few years, uh, I've moved that up to about 9 or 9:30 p.m. and I've shortened it to about 20 minutes. And instead of being a vigorous walk, I've changed it to a more meditative walk. And then I would say for the past couple of years, I've been doing a late morning walk, usually around 11 a.m. And that's mostly for exercise. And but a few weeks ago, I moved my 11 a.m. walk to 6:30 a.m. and changed it to a meditative walk. So now I have 2 meditative walks. And during that change, I noticed something. And what is it that I noticed? So my morning walk, I would when I used to do it at 11 a.m., I would say it was a very scenic walk. I live in an area where if I just go down the stairs, I end up near a canyon of sorts with lots of trees and nature, and I can go see a little stream and jackrabbits, sometimes coyotes, horses, deer, and some wildlife, but mostly trees. And it's kind of a nice place. Lots of people like to go there to just go for a nice walk. And it's not a park per se, but it's just a long stretch of nature. And there's many routes to this place. And not only are there many routes to this nature place, there are a number of routes on both sides above the canyon that are quite beautiful also. And so it's very scenic. Now, my evening walk, which I mentioned as a meditative walk, I come out of my complex and I go straight down the street. I cross over and I come down the other street and come back home. So I outline a rectangle. It's as boring as banal as it can be. Straight, left, back, and then left, and I'm back home. And it's just a long rectangle. The morning walk, that's the scenic one, is interesting, but I would say every time I went, I would change the route up because I would find new routes and so on. And sometimes I would kind of get into a groove and choose a route and do that. But usually after 3 times or so, I would get kind of bored. I'd be like, this is kind of boring. I want to explore something new. And I would explore new routes. And I've probably explored, like, if every time I took a different turn and I called that a new route, I've probably explored 20 to 30 different routes. There's probably at least 100 permutations possible. So maybe I've done about 50, 60. And but there's always this sense of like, I would call it a kind of a restlessness to it. Like, oh, I've already done this one. I need to see something different. That sort of quality. But I'm also getting exercise and I get to see a lot of beautiful nature. And even the neighborhoods there, there's lots of overhanging trees, and the one street that cuts through the area is a windy street, a 2-lane street, and so it's quite beautiful. And the houses are gorgeous, and the terrain goes up and down. It's an interesting walk in comparison to my meditation walk, which again is straight down the street in a neighborhood, across and back, very monotonous. And I almost never change that route. The only way I change it is I might go an extra block or go 1 block less to lengthen or shorten the walk depending on my energy level. And now that I've switched over my morning walk to a meditation walk, my morning walk is also the same rectangle, but just longer. My evening walk, I've shortened it for many years to about 20 minutes, and my current morning walk's about 40 minutes. So I try to get about an hour of walking besides walking my dog in. And here's the thing that I noticed, which is the inspiration of this whole thing. which is that I, when I moved my morning scenic walk to a boring meditative walk, it became clear to me that there was no restlessness, there was no boredom with a route, and there was no compulsive need, this almost feeling of wanting to explore something different, or wanting to, this almost need to change up the route. One could say this compulsive need to change something on the outside. I could just I could just walk the exact same route every single day, and there wasn't any restless, discontent, bored feeling that something needed to change. It just wasn't there. And that got me to thinking, why is that? What's at play here in this? And I think it's a little bit related to it's related to the phenomena that I've experienced many times. I've been to Las Vegas many times, and every time I've gone to Las Vegas that I can remember, I have the almost the exact same experience. Is when I pull in, it's usually late afternoon or evening, and the lights are just dazzling, and the traffic, it's just an amazing place to visit, I think, and I'm filled with excitement. And usually within 24 hours, I'm bored with the place. And within 48 hours, I'm disgusted. I just want to throw up being there. So it's amazing. It's full of excitement. And it gets boring really fast, is my experience of Vegas. And I would say that the scenic route, the route that I walk, is a low-grade version of Vegas. It's beautiful. It's filled with nature. The sights are wondrous. Like, people actually come from far away to take pictures on some parts of the route. And many artists hunker down in different places to paint or sketch drawings or paint pictures. I see photographers taking different shots and so on. I used to see a lot of Instagram couples come by in some places. I don't see that as much recently, but so it's similar, yeah. And so in these videos, I wanted to, so I thought about, I wonder what's at play here. Why is the boring rectangular walk that I'm using to practice walking meditation, why is it that I don't experience that same sense of, oh, I need to find a different route. I need to see something new. I need to see something more, something different. Why doesn't that show up? I'm certainly not tempering it. I'm not trying to restrain some excited tendency within me. It just doesn't even occur to me to think that compulsion or that need doesn't even arise. And I wondered, what's at play here? And when I reflected on it, I've been reflecting on it for the past week and a half or so, I've come up with what I think of as three main dynamics at play between these two ways of walking. And of course, I'm talking about just walking in the neighborhood, but I think of these as great metaphors for living. Yeah, the title again is The Scenic Route versus the Meditative Route, and I'm referring to walks. But one could just as well apply, I think, what I'm about to say in regards to how one lives. Does one live a life along the scenic route, or does one live life along the meditative route? And one could see, do the same principles that I talk about apply? I would say they do, but we'll see. I'm actually not sure what I'm going to say. I just have the bare bones ideas for each of the points. So starting in the next video, I'll talk about the first point and so on and so forth, second point, third point. And yep, that's it.